Hey everyone. So first off, I'd like to start by thanking everybody who's been liking, subscribing, and sharing all of my content. You guys rule and have been helping me to get my content out there for others to see, so I just wanted to say thank you very quickly. Today I'll be covering part 2 of my review of supply chain-based projects. In my last video, I covered Walton Chain, VeChain, and Wabi. Today I'll be trying to squeeze in Modum, Ambrosus, Seal, and OriginTrail. As I mentioned in my last video, these projects are going about upgrading the way that we deal with supply chain management by utilizing IoT. And IoT stands for the Internet of Things, and it's basically just the concept of connecting any device with an on and off switch to the internet and or to each other. Quick disclaimer, I'm not a financial advisor. All investments have inherent risk, and please always do your own research. There is a lot of research required for both of these videos, and I may not have gotten everything correct. There may be some errors here and there, but I tried to make sure that it was accurate to the best of my ability. I also forgot to mention in the last video what I hold, so I'd like to be transparent as usual and say that I hold VeChain for the last video, no Walton, no Wabi, and for this video, I only hold Seal. Final point to mention, if you like my t-shirt and would like to pick one up, you can check out my merch on my website, and I'll leave the link in the description down below. Let's get started with an overview of Modum. Their catchphrase is data integrity for supply chain operations powered by blockchain technology. Their goal or purpose is focused towards the pharmaceutical industry, and there has been a lot of regulatory changes in the EU requiring more stringent monitoring of pharmaceuticals during the shipment. Modum's solution is to use native sensors that are able to record environmental conditions to which shipped goods might be subject to while in transit. This gives them the ability to guarantee that there's been no factors that would have compromised the quality of the goods. Modum has a few components to their system. The first one is the pharma quality temperature logger, which basically just monitors the temperature during the transport, and then it will communicate wirelessly to a mobile application via BLE or Bluetooth Low Energy via an NFC chip. I'll define NFC chip in just a second, but I want to touch on their other components quickly. So the dashboard would be the second one, and that serves for preparation. And what that basically means is that users can set certain criteria that would trigger an alarm if the threshold for measurement was broken. This also gives them the ability to track shipments, view data visualization analytics, and those can be used to perform statistical calculations on historical data. Their mobile application can be used to pair temperature logs with their respective shipments, initialize shipments, and visualize the recorded data. In the first video, I defined what an NFC chip is, and I'll do that quickly one more time just in case you happen to not watch the first video. NFC stands for Near Field Communication, and basically it allows electronics to be able to share data with one another through NFC-equipped devices. NFC is very much like RFID, but NFC is limited to communication within about 4 inches. Most people consider NFC's small radius of communication a major security benefit, and it's one of the reasons, probably, that NFC has been taking off in this space. So, from what I can tell, Modum is personally designing their chips and their readers from the ground up, which makes their tech proprietary. In the long term, Modum aims to expand the application use of its technology by integrating additional sensors that track not only temperature, but also humidity, moisture, light, and other environmental variables. This is going to allow Modum to venture into other supply chains for other industries and markets pretty easily. Modum is an ERC20 token running on the Ethereum network with a circulating supply of 18 million and a max supply of 27 million. Modum supports voting rights for holders of their token. They're basically able to dictate if the Modum team gets paid out of the 30% of the tokens that they've been locked up in escrow. Their payment is contingent on the fact that the team is reaching specific goals and following their roadmap. Modum CEO, Simon Dosinger, I think it's pronounced, is a mechanical engineer, and he's held senior product and technology management roles at places like GoPro. Their development team is filled by individuals who specialize in sensory equipment, or IoT stuff, and blockchain technology. So on to the pros. The first one would definitely be picking a strong use case and not spreading themselves too thin. They're focusing on pharma and controlling environmental variables to verify efficacy of medication, which isn't something that I don't think that we've seen to this degree. Not to mention they're also using proprietary tech to do so. Their platform is blockchain agnostic. So although Modum is built on top of Ethereum, it's currently testing integrations with other blockchains to expand its applications and to avoid dependency on a single platform. They stated they're exploring integrations with Rootstock, Neo, IOTA, Tezos, Hyperledger, and the Waves blockchain. Modum also plans to extend their tracking sensors by integrating other environmental variables such as light, humidity, acceleration, and that will definitely set them apart from other supply chain projects that are out there right now. They also apparently have a very good track record. Modum's been very successful with their pilot tests, and apparently their test speeds have gotten significantly better each time they redo them. They have a wide range of partnerships too, so the University of Zurich and the Swiss Commission for Technology and Innovation. That's an agency of the Swiss government, and obviously any government partnerships validates the legitimacy of the project. On to the cons. So, dependency on regulations. Modum was born out of a need for a cost-effective way to solve for monitoring medications and their transit. If regulations become more lax in the future, Modum may not be the most cost-effective solution for companies. Or if regulations get more strict, Modum may need to head back to the drawing board. The good news is that normally these kinds of regulations don't necessarily change overnight. Modum tokens could very well fall under the definition of a financial security, considering it's similar to an individual holding shares in a company. Since holders of the MOD tokens are entitled to voting and profit-sharing rights, other countries may impose regulatory taxes on holders. All right, so on to Ambrosus. The Ambrosus network is a blockchain ecosystem for supply chains ensuring the origin, quality, compliance, and proper handling of items tracked by the network. Ambrosus' primary focus is on improving the supply chains for life-essential products, specifically food and medicine. The main difference is that Ambrosus tracks the content of the supplier's claim, guaranteeing that it will be authentic. An example of this would be ensuring that organic non-GMO milk is indeed coming from an organic non-GMO farm. Ambrosus is not specializing in retail or machine-to-machine transactions, but instead focused on food and pharmaceuticals. They utilize RFID chips. This is again something I went over in the last video, but I will quickly review it. RFID stands for radio frequency identification, and it's a technology that uses tiny electronic chips that are placed on items, primarily consumer goods, to relay identifying information to the electronic reader by means of radio waves. Their product is made up of a few components, including their sensor system, which is the hardware sensors that work in unison with the Ambrosus blockchain network. Their blockchain protocol. Ambrosus is building its own protocol on Ethereum that will utilize smart contracts to self-execute based on quality and safety data that's generated by their sensors. Secure data storage. Ambrosus' sensors digitize data and issue product identity tags. All readings are recorded on the network, providing an immutable, tamper-proof record of the product's entire life cycle. Developer tools. There are developer tools and modules to allow the community members to build decentralized apps, extensions, and protocol upgrades. This will create valuable solutions for consumers, farmers, pharmacies, distributors, and business owners. Amber is a native token of Ambrosus, and it's used to help trace the products through the blockchain. The tokens are used to keep information on the Ambrosus network up to date as the products move across the supply chain. Amber is also the fuel for the Ambrosus ecosystem. It's used to access the network services, interact with sensor systems, and enter commercial agreements assured by smart contracts. On May 22nd of this year, they stated that the release of their public beta was finally live. They have a maximum total supply of 361 million, and their current circulating supply is 144 million. On to the pros. Supply chain integration is an awesome use case for blockchain tech, as we've seen this, and Ambrosus has come up with their own way of improving upon the current legacy systems. However, a point of contention is that so have a lot of the other projects that we've spoken about. They have a pretty vast list of partnerships, and I really wasn't able to confirm which are certain and which are maybe still in the works, so if you do a little investigating, I'm sure you can probably figure it out. Next up is the cons. They're kind of dipping into two major use cases for their product with large competitors that are already in the space. Modum is focused on pharmaceuticals in a pretty big way, and VeChain has an agricultural goods component to it. Ambrosus is creating its own blockchain, but I'm not sure that's such a great idea, and what I mean specifically is I don't really know what the incentives would be for other people to run nodes or operate on their network. Why not continue using their existing blockchain and doing what Modum is doing, or try to be blockchain agnostic? To be honest, I feel like Ambrosus is just a little bit late to the game and not really doing anything that separates itself from other existing solutions. On to the next project, which was very popular and people wanted me to make sure that I covered it in this video, which is OriginTrail. OriginTrail is a blockchain agnostic protocol for tracking supply chain and supply chain related data. It seeks to make the flow of information easier, more adaptable, cheaper, faster, and more secure using interoperability within blockchain technology. OriginTrail utilizes blockchain tech to provide more detailed, real-time information about the products that are moving through their supply chain. Companies that use different computer systems and processes will be able to interface with the blockchain and its own information so that nothing will be lost in translation between systems. It will allow users to track their goods within a global supply chain, and it will be able to facilitate seamless transactions between single and multi-organizational supply chains. They have a couple layers of components to their project. The first component is the OriginTrail Decentralized Network, or ODN. This runs as an off-chain network and enables peers to negotiate services, and also contains network nodes, all of which hold parts of the database. Those nodes also store supply chain data in graph form. They have access to that data obtained through Exchange APIs. Next is their application layer. This is built on the ODN network and creates a base for implementing the dApps built by developers. Their data layer takes care of data management and connectivity functionality. There is a need to connect many different data sets from across different supply chains, while also providing the flexibility to support many different connection options. These data relationships are the main focus of this layer. Next is the blockchain layer. All the data entering gets immutably fingerprinted, which creates a tamper-proof mechanism, and it is a perfect use case for the blockchain related to the supply chain. This layer allows the OriginTrail network to utilize different blockchains such as ETH, IOTA, and NEO. This creates flexibility, ensures longevity for the protocol because it's blockchain agnostic. OriginTrail utilizes GS1 standards for the project. GS1 is the global system standard. This means that in the case of cross-border trading, a global trade item number can be used to identify the product in any country without restrictions or errors. GS1 brings together companies representing all parts of the supply chain. OriginTrail received the Walmart Food Safety Innovation Spark Award in Beijing, and they are part of the Enterprise Ethereum Alliance. Their current circulating supply is 268 million trace, with a total supply of 500 million trace. Their pros: they have a very strong team with relevant industry experience. And although they're in the supply chain jumble of coins, they've managed to pick a little niche that hasn't specifically been focused on by another project. It's very important in crypto, like extremely important, to set yourself apart from the rest. They too are blockchain agnostic. And the fact that they'll be able to bring interoperability to existing supply chains is huge. I don't believe that there's going to be one giant platform to rule them all. So making this project capable of working with other major players in the game is very smart. On to the cons. So at first glance, if I'm honest, I couldn't find a ton of cons for the project. I would like to mention again that I don't hold this project, so I have no reason to be biased, but I just wanted to get that out of the way. I will say that one con would be the fact that they have a lot of major names in this space that might overshadow them. And I don't mean that VeChain, Walton, and others are direct competitors, because I don't feel that way. But I do think that people may overlook the project because they feel like it's maybe like every other supply chain coin that's out there. I say this from experience because I didn't research this project prior to this video, because I kind of felt burned out by all the supply chain projects that are out there. But this is definitely one that is worth doing your research on. And finally, the last one, which is the one that I hold, which is Seal Network. Their catchphrase is to create a more genuine world out of the love for creation. Seal is a blockchain solution for authenticating genuine products and the prevention of counterfeiting goods while creating a secondary market for resale, as well as preventing midnight shifting. Midnight shifting is when a legitimate manufacturer of a brand name item or product will produce a licensed product during the day, but it will also create an unlicensed product during the night. And then they sell that unlicensed product on some form of a black market. Three major components drive the Seal platform, which are the Seal chip, which is embedded in physical products to identify them and validate their authenticity; the Seal app, which anyone can install on an NFC-compatible smartphone; and the Seal token, which is the medium of exchange between the different parts of the platform. Through their platform, Seal is able to offer businesses and consumers authenticity verification, ownership registration, ownership transfer, theft protection, marketing information, and product recalls. A big selling point for companies to use Seal would be the idea of permanent profit. Companies will be able to receive constant profit from transactions on the Seal network. If a person bought a product with an NFC sensor from Nike and confirmed their ownership, Nike will receive a commission from the sale. The same system will work when selling on the secondary market using NFC sensors. Thus, the companies will be able to benefit from the sale of the product even if it's resold 10 times on a secondary market with the help of the Seal network. They're working with NXP. NXP is a Dutch global semiconductor manufacturer, and they are the co-inventor of the Near Field Communication Chip, or NFC, as well as Sony. They are the global market leader with approximately 85% of the world's NFC market shares. Seal is currently under an NDA with them. Seal is an ERC20 token on the Ethereum blockchain with a total supply of 1.2 billion coins. They're part of the International Anti-Counterfeiting Coalition, and this is the world's largest nonprofit organization devoted solely to protecting intellectual property and deterring counterfeiting. They're also part of the Enterprise Ethereum Alliance and recently announced a partnership with Deloitte, which is focused on their anti-counterfeiting effort in the EU. Deloitte itself is one of the big four accounting organizations and is the largest professional services network in the world by revenue and number of professionals. Some pros. So I feel like Seal really doubled down on the goal of preventing counterfeiting in goods in a pretty serious way. Their secondhand market is an awesome use for their NFC chips and their existing products. Also, the fact that companies will manage to make revenue even after the item is sold 2 or 3 times privately. Not to mention, they're working with a company who makes 85% of the NFC chips that are on the market. Some cons. I'll add the same con here for Seal as I did for the Trace token, saturation of the market. I really like this project a lot, as I mentioned earlier, because I hold some Seal, but because there's so many projects out there doing similar things, people may feel fatigued and not always give every project the chance to prove itself. If anybody's interested in learning more about the project, I did an interview with one of the members of the Seal Network team, I don't know, a couple weeks ago, so you can go back on my channel and check it out if you're interested. Alright, so some similarities to all these projects. Obviously, they're all trying to tackle some form of supply chain management in some capacity. I would have to say that Modum and Ambrosus out of these four are probably the most similar because they're kind of focused on the same goods and services. But they don't have very much in common with OriginTrail or Seal. Differences. Modum is focused more on supply chain auditing of goods and the efficacy of quality and less about prevention of counterfeiting. Ambrosus is sort of trying to do a little bit of everything, it seems, but nothing in particular. OriginTrail is trying to be the go-between for multiple blockchains and supply chains in order to sort of kind of bridge them all. And Seal is more focused on authenticity of goods, counterfeit protection, and supporting the secondhand market. Lastly, the final thoughts. First, let me apologize because I have a sneaking suspicion that this video is going to end up being very long. Overall, I liked Modum and what they're doing, but I don't find the product spark kind of any interest in me to want to go and purchase it. I was pretty obviously not impressed by Ambrosus, as I alluded to earlier. It's not that I don't think that they're going about their tech in a wrong way. I just think that they haven't really found a niche market. I was very impressed by OriginTrail and what they're doing overall, and I'm actually very happy that I got to do research on that project. And then finally, I'm sure that if you've all figured out that I'm a big fan of Seal, I think that goes without saying that I'm really interested to see how their secondhand market comes about. Again, all these projects are pretty legit and focused on solving real-world problems, but the question is which one can do it better, and I suppose time will tell. Anyway, that's part 2 of my supply chain video. It's like 1,000 degrees in this room because it's finally getting hot out. I'm gonna have to figure out how to cool it with the air conditioner and not ruin the audio of the video, so that's gonna be a new thing to tackle in the next coming weeks. But, thank you guys for watching and, dealing with my lengthy videos, and I'll see you all next week.